So the conversation came up of whether you should use lethal versus less than lethal means to defend yourself. This came up in a Facebook group, and this is my personal take on it. First, you have to start with mindset. So, are you capable of using deadly physical force to protect yourself? And if you are capable of doing that, like mentally capable, then you should use a firearm or lethal means. Because we're talking about imminent threat here, imminency. Um, the argument is that you should carry both, and I personally think that's a little more confusing to most individuals. I'm not saying all individuals, but most individuals. I'll link up. I'll link up down below a video where a police officer was confused on whether she pulled her taser versus her gun, and she ends up shooting the man. And you can literally hear her say in the video, like, "I'll tase you, I'll tase you," and clearly there's a firearm in her hand, a Glock. So if you have the means to, if you have the mental capacity to defend yourself with deadly physical force in an imminent threat situation, then you should 100% use a firearm. Okay, so why not lethal? Why not a less than lethal thing? In the case of an imminent threat, if you use less than lethal, it may or may not work for you. A stun gun, for example, you have to be in close proximity with that person who is attacking you. If you are a female, you're likely not as big or as strong as a male who might be attacking you. I mean, there's some generalities there, but and if you're in close proximity to this attacker, they can get you, they can grab you, they can hit you, they can touch you, they can do whatever it is that they can within arm's reach. When it comes to pepper spray, so pepper spray, I don't think that individuals are going to go train at the range with pepper spray. They're not going to go get a range time. They're not going to go get a bunch of pepper spray to train at the range. It's not something that people typically train on. Most of the time when people train on pepper spray, they're just getting sprayed in the face so they know what it feels like. And it may work, is the other thing. It may not work. Depending on your genetic makeup, pepper spray may or may not affect you, right? So let's put a scenario out here. Somebody comes at you, they attack you, you try to spray them. If you know which way the wind is going and you can think about it, then maybe it hits the person that it's intended for. Okay, let's say they aren't affected by it now, but now they're really, really, really mad, and now they're taking their anger out on you. That's not something that I would suggest for anybody, but typically people who carry pepper spray are females. And again, females are generally smaller and less strong than males. And typically males are the aggressors, typically speaking. That's not always the case, but typically speaking, they are. So, well, then why not use both of them? Again, you can't train on both of them at the same time enough to be proficient at both of them. Proximity and effects and all those different things. It's It's a different mentality. So it all goes back to, are you capable of using deadly physical force to protect yourself or others? And my last argument for this is that a firearm can actually be less than lethal. Here's my point on that. If I pull a firearm out and to thwart an attack, and that attack is thwarted, and I didn't shoot, is that less than lethal? You bet your damn dollar it is. And most times, just the mere presentation of a firearm will thwart an attack. So my suggestion, if you can, mentally prepare yourself to use deadly physical force to protect yourself. Then use a firearm. Understand what an imminent threat is. Avoid situations altogether that will lend itself to that. Deter, and then use that lethal force. If you cannot mentally prepare yourself to use deadly physical force, by all means, carry less than lethal. But it's not going to have the same effect as a firearm. A firearm, a pistol specifically, is a symbol of power. And if you don't believe me, every single military unit in the army, in the world, every single military unit in the world, when they issued a pistol, they issued the pistols to their officers first. Not because the officers needed it, not because they could use it or they were better with it. It's because it was a symbol of power. And it still kind of is in a lot of military units around the world. Okay, so OC spray is not a symbol of power. A stun gun is not a symbol of power. None of those non-lethal or less than lethal tools are not symbols of power. You're going to have a different reaction, a very vastly different reaction if you present a firearm to an attacker versus if you present something less than lethal.